to Omer, and one inserts the appropriate Sefirah, meaning whatever day that is. Today it is the Hod She B'Yesod, right? We are in the 5th week, right? So that we are in the 5th week, right?
We have 9 more days.
5
Yeah.
days.
So how could that be? We have 9 more days.
We're in the 6th.
Six?
Right, we've counted 5 weeks, so we're in the 6th week. Right. We've counted already, right, 5 complete weeks, so we're in the 6th week, which is the Yesod, and the 5th day would be Hod She B'Yesod. Okay? Right, tomorrow, which will be the 6th day of that 6th week, so that will be Yesod She B'Yesod. And lastly, we'll have the Malchut on this week on Shabbos, the Malchut She B'Yesod, and then we're going to start Chesed of Malchut, Gevura of Malchut, etc., etc.
Is that like the ultimate of Chesed, ultimate of Gevura, like when you say Malchut? I know it's kingship, but it doesn't mean like it's the Gevura of Gevura.
Well, it's the control in order what right, a melech is there to give over. Right, a king is there in order to serve. Right, to be through him the whole nation is served. He controls it all and makes sure that all is served properly.
And that means Hashem.
Well, to a degree, it's also malchut. That's what a king is meant to be over here in this world also.
So is that tefillah obligatory to?
Is it obligatory? For
say-
women, Sefirah to Omer is not obligatory. So it's hard to say that that tefillah is obligatory. The mitzvah is Sefirah to Omer, and then there are other things that are there for one to add on.
So when I used to say that, not knowing, like up till 2 years ago, I was pretty consistent. But if we had a true tuma, like touching a corpse or slander, we would have to do all the other things too, if it was possible, right?
If we had a Beit HaMikdash, we had all those means, yes.
Just this
Yes.
would not be sufficient to.
We're asking that this should help to cleanse us. If there are steps. We also ask God to help us understand Torah. If we don't learn Torah, and asking God to help us understand Torah is not going to. We have to ask for the help. We have to also take the steps.
Right.
Towards.
But if this alone, in some cases, would not be sufficient. Yes. No.
We need to do whatever we can do.
Okay.
Okay, an additional dimension is that which we find in Pirkei Avot. The Mishnah Avot tells us there are 48 ways through which the Torah is acquired. It's the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, which is it's the 6th perek, the 6th Mishnah. And there it says, I'll read it in English, the Torah is acquired through 48 qualities, which are study, attentive listening, saying one study out loud, intuitive understanding, discernment, awe of teachers, fear of heaven, humility, joy, purity, serving the wise, being close to fellow students, evaluative discussion with fellow students, calmness, knowledge of Tanakh, knowledge of Mishnah, moderation in business activity, moderation in worldly activity, moderation in physical pleasure, moderation in sleep, moderation in speech, moderation in merrymaking, slowness to anger, good heart, faith in sages, accepting suffering, knowing one's place, being happy, sameach with what everyone has, making offense around one's words, not boasting, endearing oneself to others, loving God, loving his creatures, loving righteousness, loving justice, loving to have one's mistakes corrected, keeping far from honor, not being arrogant about one's knowledge, not enjoying making halachic decisions, sharing another person's trouble, judging others positively, setting them in the path of truth, setting the path of peace, teaching calmly, asking and answering, listening and adding insight, studying in order to teach, studying in order to do the mitzvot, making one's teacher wiser, reflecting over one's lessons, and repeating an idea in the name of the person who said it first. For we learned, whoever repeats an idea in the name of the originator brings redemption to the world, as it says in Megillah. Esther told it to the king in Mordechai's name. Esther told Achashverosh in the name of Mordechai about the plot, the assassination plot, and because of that, right, that's what started the whole turnabout with Mordechai. Rav Aaron Kotler, did I give you guys this or not? No, Rav Aaron Kotler says as follows. The days of counting the Omer are days of preparation for the giving of the Torah. Since acquiring Torah depends on the 48 ways the Torah is acquired, it is like all things which can only be acquired through the appropriate mechanism. Therefore, it is clear that the way to prepare is through these 48 ways. You want to acquire Torah, this is the kinyan. This is the way to acquire it. There's certain ways, right, that an acquisition is made. Short of that, right, if I want to sell you my property, an acquisition needs to be made. If we don't go through the proper means of an acquisition, ownership will not be transferred. This is the way that Torah is acquired. The 48 days correspond to the 48 ways that the Torah is acquired. The 49th day is a day of completion for purity and preparation for receiving the Torah. The reason this preparation is connected to the Omer is to entrench and implant within us the recognition that everything comes from God, which is the meaning of the Omer, the offering of the first crops. Okay, so therefore, these days that we have now are days that are filled with tremendous potential. Every individual is filled with tremendous potential. And these are days and times that we have to take some time to focus on and to best utilize the days that we have over here. Right? At one of the Daf Yomi Siyumim. Daf Yomi is where it's a worldwide project where a daf, usually the same daf, is learned around the world. By everyone who's on the Daf Yomi program is learning that very same daf. So wherever you travel, if you fly on El Al, one of the audio channels there will give you the Daf Yomi, right? And you walk into any shul that has a Daf Yomi class, wherever you are in the world, then you'll all be on the same daf. One time when I was doing Daf Yomi, I was flying. So I took out my Gemara, and the person I'll see across me took out his Gemara. Never met the person before, but we learned together. We were holding in the same daf, and we learned that daf together. On the Long Island Railroad, there is a certain train, right? A certain car of the train at a certain time, right? That there's a daf yomi given on that, and that train going to the city for work is filled with people who are learning daf yomi, and they know, if you're catching the 7:14, train, right, the fourth car back, right, is the daf yomi train, and right, it's incredible, and it all started with Rav Meir Shapiro, and the story goes that 1894, the day after Pesach, he was 7 years old. He saw his mother crying. Why are you crying? He asked. Because your malamed, your teacher, didn't come today. He was supposed to come today, but he's not here yet. So why are you crying? She said, you don't understand. You are too young. But if you miss a day of learning, it can never be replaced. Right? And that went deep into his heart, and that became one of the fundamental ideas of the Daf Yomi, that no day goes by without there being some learning that goes on. Right? But not every one of us needs to come about with results like Rav Meir Shapiro and founding a Daf Yomi, right? But as long as we are doing our best, right? We mentioned before, a person says, will my actions reach the actions of the patriarchs and matriarchs? How could it possibly reach their actions? They utilize their potential fully. Every single person in the world can utilize their potential fully, and the days of Sefirah are days for us to work on utilizing utilizing that potential that we have. Okay, my friends, we'll call it
I
over
have a
here.
question.
Yes, Chayrivka.
I met Rabbi Yaakov Haber in Ramat
Israel.
Shemesh.
Yeah.
Was that the one?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I had a nice talk with him.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Dov, thank you. Yes.
Well, if that's a good word, if it means strength, how does it mean limited as well? What's the...
Because the real strength is not imposing my strength on others. The real strength is knowing when to hold back.
Kind of like discipline.
Yeah.
If you can be strong enough to discipline yourself, self-discipline, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Isaac. Isaac was the restraint, right, when it came to the binding, to that kingdom. Okay, my friends, we'll call it over here.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yes, Shkoach, everybody.
May I have another copy, if you have another copy?
Sure.
I think I'll give to my son in Israel, if he'd like.
Absolutely. Oh, please, sign up. Chayrivka, have you signed up yet to give a little thing? Oh, Shuas Nagi staying up? We won't be able to.
I have trouble going at night, walking
Uh-huh.
at night.
Okay.
And I'd have to do it early, and
Okay.
it's probably taken already. Probably early is taken,
Well, the dinner starts at 9:10.
I know. It's hard for me to go at
Yeah.
night. Remember I sent you a note about could we repeat the next day?
Yes.
Remember I said, I think it would be
it's-
nice for those
it's-
who don't come.
Yeah, it's hard. Look, the next day, most people are up the whole night, go to sleep.
Right, but at some point, maybe the next afternoon or something.
I
And not
can't-
everybody will want to do it.
Yeah.
But even if we hear a few of the talks we missed, I think it would be a nice thing.
Why don't you ask Mrs. Miller if she'd be willing to give her a talk again at another
Just
time?
it's
also?
one time, one person.
Yeah. Well, because everyone else is giving short, if she's giving a whole class, everyone else is giving 5-6 minute things on
Okay,
different
I'll
mitzvahs.
ask.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. What did you want to
Yeah,
ask?
I want to ask him for Archie's email of the rabbi.
Can we come just to hear what?
Which rabbi?
The one who would do the prayer for Yitzhak. Jonathan Ben Devorah.
I already told him that.
He doesn't have it.
Oh,
No, he doesn't.